All right, so now I'm kind of holding my shoe up here. Might even kind of hold it into position, something that's, you know, a little closer to the way that I'm drawing this thing. What I want to do though is I want to make sure where exactly is that sole. How thick is it in the places where it's thick, where it's thicker? You know, it's like thinner here, thicker here, really thick back here, right? So I know that it's all the way up here, back here. I know that up here it's right there, which isn't very thick. And what else do I know? You know, I don't know a whole lot else. The thing that I would say is that in here I can start to get a feeling for how thick that thing ought to be. It's pretty thick right there. I'm going to start to use axial modeling. And what that means is, like, how thick does it feel like this ought to be? I'm making an educated guess right about here. In the front, I'm shooting this back there to back there, okay? Now I might be wrong about that, but that is about where I think this thing ought to be. And I think that it's pretty straight right there. So I can look at this, again, where is up? I have to go up unless I am drawing like a stiletto heel, as there are a couple of you who are considering that. What happens with the stiletto heel is you've got this really small little shape in there, right? And that is flaring out. It flares out the same this way as it does that way, okay? So what I would say on that, in that case, is that figure out where is up, right? And then from where up is that even up? That's not up. Come on, Slaw. Up is this way. Anyways, figure out where is up. And then figure out where is out. The thing about the stiletto heel is that on the sides it flares out, and in the back, you know, let's imagine that you've got this little teeny thing in there. In the back it flares this way, right? So you'll see if you are one of those people who is doing that that sole that flares out, you've got this little thing in there and you have to visualize that out, you know? But start with like figuring out where's up. That's really bugging me. Up is not there. Up is from here. Up goes this way. Rookie mistake again. Is that really up? And a little bit from there. Something like that. That's up. Okay? That's a better up over there. All right, so I'm going to say from here, this thing's got to come out. It's got to make sense. As this curls around, it's going to do something really similar to that thing. But I'm going to look at this and see, does it flare, does it go straight up or does it flare out slightly? You know, it actually flares out slightly. So if I've got up, I'm going to bring this thing out a little. It flares out some. This thing's got to come all the way out there. Man, it does not want to do that. Come on, Slaw. You got to make it do it. man, I do not like how that looks. So I've got this thing coming like that. That's curling up. This is doing something really similar to that. So you can see all that up there. This has got to do something similar. So maybe that doesn't come up as high as I've got it. And that might very well have something to do with the angle I've drawn this at, right? This is going to be really similar. It's going to be a function of that thing. Can I get that to go all the way over there? Something about that is not equating. So I have to look at the bottom shape, and I got to get this to agree with it. Okay, so now this thing is going to come over there and be about that high over here, where that is. Again, thinking about where is up. Looking back at that, you know, this thing comes in here and really comes down. I don't want that to interfere with my midline here, but I do need to know what that thing's doing. So I might look at this and say, well, how thick is this thing right there? This, I had that as fairly thick. This is maybe in between. Where's up? Find up. It's about that thick. So on its way back there, what does it do? I know where it starts and I know where I'm aiming, what I'm aiming for. So I use those landmarks to help me draw the rest of it. Okay, my outside contour is going to be like that. My my outside contour here is going to be like that. I gotta back up from it. Hold this thing up there. Can I buy that for this? You know, I think that this actually comes up more like that. It turns the corner up here higher. Here's something I want to start to do. Probably should sharpen my pencil up a little. I want to start thinking about the cross section here. Watching Brad sharpen his pencil. Okay. This cross section, let me show you what I'm talking about. You know, where's up? What does the sole do? It comes up here and then it cuts in here. If you take a look at this, actually on mine it doesn't do that. Frequently that's what it does, is that you're going to see the top of the sole and you might end up having to draw one more shape on the, you know, on there. With mine, the leather actually comes out over it, like it overlaps a little bit, and there's a stitch. I might come over here and find the same thing. Is that doing the same thing over on that side? If it's not, fix it. It ought to be doing something really similar. Ruh-roh, mine isn't. So, why? You know, on my shoe, it's actually not. See how thin that is over here on that side? Over here, this is really thick on the insole. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. So I think that's what it's really more like what it's doing over there. Okay. On yours, your shoe might come in there. A lot of shoes, the sole is bigger than, you know, and there's a top to it. And I have to then draw a little inside part as well. If your shoe is like that, draw that, okay? What I want to do here is come back and kind of clean up everything. And I want you guys to get this far over the weekend. I want you to get that profile in there, bend it into the right place, and then I want you to bend the bend that floor plan up into the right place, and then get this sole, the top of the sole. Okay? 1, 2, 3. All right. Talk to you on Monday.